smallest sound can cradle love so very well.
Hello there. I would like to invite you to attend our Advent Art in the Dark project program that we plan on having for the 3 consecutive Thursdays of Advent this year at Sacred Heart Church. It might be helpful to kind of explain a little bit about what it is so you know, A, whether or not you want to attend, and B, know how to most fully engage in it without having to have a bunch of conversation and description ahead of time. So it's easier to do than it is to describe, so just bear with me. But what we've done is we've purchased some artwork that we've got printed up and we'll have on display on stations, if you will, throughout the church, and give people an opportunity to just kind of mill around, treat it almost as a gallery experience, if you will, but do so in a manner that still maintains it as a reverential, sacred area, which it certainly is. So the artwork will form or give us a visual for our minds and perception to kind of work with. And then in addition to that, there's also an acoustical component, which is a combination of profound silence, some sounds of the ambience of the church, in addition to Taize prayer done by some fairly good vocalists that we have in attendance. And so the idea is that people will just kind of do this at their own pace. There's no right or wrong way to engage in it, but it's nothing particularly new. The church has often done things like this. So what we're doing is a bit of a mashup that would be find its roots in adoration, use of the rosary, Stations of the Cross. Taize prayer has been around since the Second World War. We're in all of our sacraments, we're using our 5 senses to engage in an experience of our faith that makes it more tangible for us. In this particular endeavor, we're engaging basically 2 senses, our visual and our hearing. And so what we're using for artwork is from a contemporary artist by the name of Scott Erickson. And he has come up with 15 images that he references or titles the Stations of Advent. And his artwork, although it might seem abstract at times, is no different than iconography that we've had around for centuries. It's a symbolic representation of our understanding of our relationship with God. And so he provides a little bit of a write-up for each of the images that helps us to understand what's going through his mind and heart, why he might have created these things, but it's not a one-for-one explanation as to what the images are that we're looking at. So they are going to, for each week, we'll have 5 of these images set up as stations that have accent lighting so you can actually see the work of art itself, in addition to an environmental component of vigil candles that are spaced around the area. So people are invited to kind of get up and move around to inspect and see the images up close or from a distance. There's seating not far from it, so you can plop down and spend some time with each of the images. The Taize prayer that's going to be going on is not compulsory. You don't need to participate. You can simply listen to it. Or if you wish, the phrasing is going to be simple enough that you don't need a hymnal. You can simply follow along, however the Spirit moves you. We will have programs available that will have the written descriptions from Scott Erickson for each of the images, as well as some other information on the style of prayer that we're doing, and so you know some of the roots and the history behind it. But we're trying to make this as easy for you to use as possible. So if you are of the era that have a smartphone that you are never separated from, the images will have a QR code on the lower corner. And so if you have the app, you can simply scan it. It'll probably work better for you than it does me. But you could go directly to the website for Scott Erickson and get the information directly from that. If you so choose, the phone might work better for you. We just ask that you silence the phone so that notifications or calls don't disrupt the profound silence or the Taize prayer that's kind of going on. In terms of what the Taize prayer is, it's not old in the sense that it was started in World War II in Taize, France, by an ecumenical group that wanted to get together, and they were gathered in the churches using candlelight and praying with a certain mantra style song and music. And they found it helpful, and it's been used throughout the decades since. So it's not particularly new, even though it might not be mainstream Catholicism. It's certainly been used in most Christian denominations at some point, somewhere along the line. The other thing that we refer to with the iconography or these images that we're looking at is referred to as visio divina. You've probably heard of lectio divina, which is where you're using scripture and your imagination to kind of unpack and make your prayer life a little bit more relevant. With the visio, we're simply using a visual. So this is not new either. The Catholic Church has had icons for centuries, use of statues, stained glass windows. Even adoration has a component of this where there are people that believe that having a visual contact with the Eucharist allows them to engage in prayer experience a little bit more. Yeah, don't let this happen during the evening. So this is similar to a little bit of adoration in the sense. So it's using our visual sense as a means of engaging our imaginations a little bit more clearly. So our hope is that you join us. We've been working at this, and so we've been busy trying to create a little bit of the environment to make sure that it's going to be a balance of dark and light that we can work with. We've been working with the selection of the music that kind of goes into this. And so I ask you to come and try it out. We guarantee you won't get hurt, and we think that you might like it. It's certainly in keeping with the spirit of Advent in as much as it allows us to calm down, slow down. There's no commercial elements. We're not advertising anything. We're not pushing a particular agenda. We're just asking for people to come with an open mind and an open heart and encounter God's creation, the incarnation, in perhaps a different way. There's many ways to which we can encounter God. We hope you enjoy doing it this way.
Prepare a place for love to dwell. No need for lavish inn or hall. The rudest space, the small